Hey everybody, welcome back to the show Tales from the Bar by Eat Local New York. This week our guest is a seasoned bartender, nay a mixologist, the one, the only, Jennie Hudson.
Hi.
All right, Jennie.
Whichever.
Jennie.
Jennie, like Forrest Gump.
Thanks for coming to the show.
Thanks.
Yeah. So where are you bartending these days?
So I usually refer to myself as the substitute bartender of Central New York. I work at JP's Tavern in Baldwinsville on Monday nights. And I do most of my bartending at Kasai Ramen, which is on Walton Street downtown. It is a Japanese fusion ramen restaurant.
Awesome.
So yeah.
I'm very familiar with Kasai, excited to have you on. And you have every week we ask our guests to make a signature cocktail.
Exactly.
And so what are you going to teach me how to make this week?
I used to work at a bar called the Tiki Bar in Baldwinsville, and we had a slushy machine, and we are open until Halloween. So we had to find a drink that was still kind of summery, but was also fall. So I call this drink Fall on the Floor.
Ah, nice.
Because it works very well.
Yeah.
So
it closes every October?
It does.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It's only a seasonal liquor license.
I did not know that. I didn't even know those existed.
They're not allowed to be open after November 1st.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's wild.
Yes. So
Very
they do a Halloween party and then they put the boats away.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I move the boats and winterize them.
All right, so Fall on the Floor. What are the ingredients in this
drink? We have Crown Apple, which is the apple-flavored whiskey for people who have never been outside. And then also Jack Fire, which is a cinnamon-flavored whiskey. Apple cider. Oops, there's the leaf.
From our friends at Red Jacket Juice Company in Geneva.
Local, gotta stay local. And then also Fever Tree ginger ale, not to ginger beer, ginger ale specifically. So.
Okay.
And that's all the things that are in it.
All right. So we're going to pour that over a rock, shake it.
Yep, and then pour it into a glass with ice. Or it can be frozen, which is also very delicious because it tastes warm, but it's frozen.
Okay.
So.
All right, so you want to make the first one, I'll make the second one?
Yep, so you're going to do equal parts Crown Apple.
All right, so equal parts Crown Apple.
And Jack Fire or Fireball.
Okay.
I don't like the texture of Fireball as a person.
Ah.
So equal parts of those two things.
I wonder if I'll have to taste that when we're done by itself because I use Inferno.
So that would also work very well.
Okay.
They didn't have that at the liquor store that I went to today. Yeah. I do love that, although it has more of a Red Hot's candy flavor to it and a little less cinnamon, actual cinnamon, in my personal opinion. So you pour those things in there and then you shake it before you add the ginger ale because otherwise it will explode.
Yeah.
So.
All right, shake it up.
Shake it up, and then we're gonna get another ice cube.
Okay. Into our Kasai. Jim Beam, Syracuse Mets, water spotted rocks glass. That's
exactly.
My fault.
He doesn't polish things. Polishing is for barbacks.
So the one ice cube makes this a fancy drink, right?
I'm making it, so it makes it a fancy drink. Yeah.
I was told that if you crush the ice, you can only charge like no more than $9.
Unless you hand crush it.
Oh, okay, there you go. That's an extra $9.
If you use like the little baseball bat in the bag, then you can definitely charge more for it. So then you open your ginger ale and you pour it over. And then you have your apple slice and your cinnamon stick.
Wow.
That doesn't even really so much fit in that glass because I didn't know what kind of glass we were using, but it's beautiful.
Look at that. All right, so the Fall on the Floor.
Fall on the floor.
Okay, not the fall, just Fall on the Floor.
Any floor. Autumn on the floor, whichever way you want to do it.
All right, let's leave that one there. I'm going to make mine and we'll taste them.
Oh.
You said equal parts, right? So it doesn't matter if I do 2 ounces.
It doesn't matter as much because you're just going to shake it and then you will measure when you pour it into the glass.
Okay.
So.
All right, so equal parts.
Yep.
I'm going to use this new jigger that I got today. It's Smith Restaurant Supply. Even though it's still dumb and it only goes 1.5 ounces and 3/4 of an ounce.
See,
I don't know why people do that.
Why wouldn't they just make it even
I don't know.
amounts?
All right, so 1.5 ounces of Crown.
I do better just free pouring with speed pours and counting.
Yeah.
Because that's how I learned.
What is that? Like I was just bartending the other night.
Each counts a 1/2 ounce.
Each second?
Well, yeah. I mean, you just count though. It doesn't have to. It's not like a Mississippi's. It's like a counting, like 1, 2, 3.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was at the bar the other night, and somebody said to me, because I use a jigger to measure everything,
Yeah.
and they said, "Oh, I went to bartending school, and I was told you can never, ever, ever use a jigger. You have to learn by count."
I mean, I feel like if you're doing a recipe that you didn't make,
Yeah.
a jigger is good because then it's accurate measurements.
Right.
But if you're just making a drink that you're the person that makes it every time, you can tailor your count to how the jigger, like how the speed pourers work.
Yeah.
So like not all speed pourers, the ball bearing doesn't move at an even pace. So you can't even say seconds, it's counts. Like you hear the ball
Gotcha.
make a noise inside, and then the count is based on how much it pours out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when things are broken, as they many times are in restaurants, you have to tailor your way of doing things by what actually works and not what's proper, I guess.
All right.
Is more accurate.
That makes sense. All right, so I did 1.5 ounces of Crown, 1.5 ounces of cinnamon whiskey, and now what? How many?
Now you're gonna do like
Is it-
1.5 ounces of apple cider.
Okay. So
That's kind of a to taste.
yeah. Maybe
So,
how much apple cider?
Some people prefer more apple cider to ginger ale ratio. I'm more of a ginger ale gal myself.
All right, if you'll hand me the ice bucket.
Ice bucket.
My beautiful ice bucket that I got at the Syracuse Antique Exchange.
Yes, it's vintage.
I'm going to drop that in my rocks glass. That in here, right?
Yep. You're gonna shake it, so it doesn't matter. That's
right.
why you shake.
Yeah, that's why you
Surface
shake.
area.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
All right, put this on, right?
Yep. Flip. There you go.
Okay.
Shake it, shake it, shake it. Okay, so sure.
All right. Got my little cocktail strainer.
Exactly. If you did it that way, I used the cups.
Why do you? Because you do that a lot at the bar. Why do you?
That's
use
how I
cups?
learned how to do it.
All right, that's fair enough.
I often can do that with plastic cups and just fit them together to make
Yeah,
it work.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Seen that on the talk. Mm-hmm. All right, let's top with ginger ale. Is that good?
Yeah, maybe a little more. No, touch more. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. All right, boss. Check it out. See how I did.
All right.
Mmm.
It's freaking delicious.
Wow. All right, let me try that one.
Yeah.
You're not sick, are you?
Nope. Nothing communicable.
Wow. Yours is better.
I'm
There's more ginger ale.
I'm a professional.
Well, as I'm going to enjoy your cocktail,
Ooh, yeah.
you can have mine.
Because you like mine better.
Yeah.
Also, the glass is bigger.
Yeah.
It was unfair for you.
Cheers. So Petunia and I were talking earlier. We were saying, I wondered, 20 years in the industry,
Yeah.
Jenny has to have some great story
Oof.
of your experience.
I have a lot of stories, but I thought I would tell one that had like a happy ending and was like marginally positive and not complaining. I feel like that's important. So I was working at the Tiki Bar last summer, and it was really, really, really busy. I want to say Dirt Road Ruckus was playing, which is just always like mass hysteria, like crazy amounts of business. And so they closed pretty early in order to like not upset all the neighbors. So usually after the band is over around like 10 or midnight, they kind of cut everybody off, send them all on their way. It's starting to wind down, and there's like a area where there's like the bathrooms, and then there's like porta potties, and then there's like an embankment, and then there's the bay.
Okay.
So the water swirls funny in that area because there's a channel. There's like the harbor for Cold Springs Harbor, and then there's like a floating dock. And the way that the current runs, it swirls backwards in that spot. So it gets kind of weird, and like things get hung up in there.
Okay.
Like if stuff starts to float down, it floats back towards us instead of continuing.
Gotcha.
So someone was standing over by the porta potty area smoking a cigarette, and all of a sudden they come running over to the bar. And they're like, Jenny, hey, there's a guy in the water. And I'm like, is he swimming? Like, what is he doing? So then they're like, it doesn't really look like he's swimming. So it's dark. I just start running. Like I grab my phone, I just start to run. And My mom is a nurse and my dad's an Eagle Scout. So like we just help people when like weird stuff happens, just instinct, like we just do.
Yeah.
So I was about to jump in the river, like run down on the dock and I'm like ready to jump in the river. And the bouncer, Tim Guzzo, who is an EMT and a fireman in New York National Grid, he comes running down after me. He like grabs my shoulders and he's like, "What are you about to do?" And I was like, "He's in the water. Like we have to get him out of the water." So he's like, "Fine, rock paper scissors me. You cannot jump in the water." He's like, "I can't let you jump in." And I was like, "Okay, fine." So he just demands that I let him. So he jumps in the water. I'm standing on a jet ski, so I have like 1 foot on a dock, and I'm on a jet ski, and we're lifting this adult elderly man who is blue
Jeez.
out of the water.
What, was it that cold?
He must have been in the water for a long time.
Wow.
It wasn't that it was cold, it was
Yeah.
that he was drowning.
Yeah.
So we're trying to like figure out how he's in the water.
Yeah.
And he just kept saying, "Just let me go. Just let me go." And I'm like, he's like looking into my eyes and he's saying, "Just let me go. She doesn't love me anymore. Just let me go." And I'm like,
Jesus.
what's your name? So then at this point, like 2 of the other bartenders come running down, and one of the girls, her boyfriend is a police officer. So he's trying to find a nurse. He's helping. Everybody's on the dock. So I get him by like his armpits, and I'm standing on a jet ski, and my 1 foot's on the dock. Tim is in the water, treading water, pushing him so I can lift him up. Because I'm 5'2", like who am I saving,
Yeah.
first of all? Like that doesn't even make any sense. But so I yank him up and the girls help me get him onto the dock. And luckily we found a nurse who like rolled him, got him to get the water out of his lungs.
Yeah.
And it's scary because like you don't know who all the people are. Everybody has been drinking that's like running down to try to help.
Yeah.
So now you don't want more people to fall into the water. Like it gets weird. So Tim and I and Taylor and Lacey get everybody kind of organized, and we get the guy out of the water. So it turns out he came back like a couple weeks later. He ended up being fine. We called an ambulance, the whole thing. He ended up being fine. He had been down at the public boat launch. He had been at the bar earlier.
Okay.
Him and someone got into like an argument. He had wandered down walking because like the person who he had been with had left him there. He wandered down just to look at the water, and he fell. And he was like a veteran, you know.
Jesus.
That was the only way we even figured out his name. I think his name was Stanley or something. So we had like patted him down. We got his
Stanley?
license. No, yes.
It was Stanley.
Of Marvel fame.
Wow.
Yes. He wrote Spider-Man.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
He was at the Elks Lodge, I guess,
Yeah,
or something.
and then, yeah.
But so anyways, so we get him out of the water and everything is fine. And then he comes back a couple weeks later and he's like, "I have absolutely no idea what I was talking about."
Jesus.
He had been in the water for so long and he was like delirious. And I guess, so it turned out that he had some sort of medication that he was on, and they had changed the dosage. And so I don't know if he had had too much to drink or if it was just specifically the medication. But I mean, we hadn't even seen him. We checked all the cameras to see if he had been in the bar. We couldn't find him. But like he looked funny because he was so blue and like puffy from being in the water. But he ended up being totally fine. He came back a couple weeks later and like gave us all big hugs and wanted to find out who all the people were that had helped him.
That's wild.
And he was so great.
Huh.
And yeah, so everything ended up being fine. And yeah, don't try to swim at night in the Seneca River in open water
All right.
after you've been drinking. That's the moral of that story.
Yeah. Or after you switch medication.
Also that, don't make sure all of your medications are in order before you drink alcohol, I guess.
All right.
Because how are we supposed to know that?
Yeah.
You know,
Crazy.
call a pharmacist.
Yeah.
So,
Well, cheers to a saving a life
yes,
and making a great cocktail.
exactly.
Thanks for coming
Thank you. Yes, thank you for being here for us.
Yeah. Bye.